Hey beautiful soul, Alice here. Welcome to day 9 of this video series. And if you're new here and you've never heard of Veda, Veda stands for Vlog Every Day in the month of April or Vlog Every Day in the month of August. And for this video, I'm doing 30 days of self-love. The intention is to spread more love and positive vibes out into the world in this time of uncertainty. Feel free to follow along. Join the discussions by typing your thoughts in the comments below, sharing my videos, or you can simply follow along with the topics and create your own videos. Alright, without further ado, let's dive into today's topic. Hey, when's the last time you opened up to people? When's the last time you openly talked about something you cared about? Like your interests or passions? Sometimes doing things like that, it's a little bit scary because we never know how people are going to react or respond to that. Are they going to support us and accept us for who we are? Or are they going to criticize and judge us? And as an artist, sharing my illustrations on social media can be a little bit scary at times because I'm not sure whether or not people are gonna like my work. Are they gonna buy my work? And there are those days where I'm like, am I good enough? And I look at other people's work and think, oh my gosh, they are so good. However, I believe that a huge part of self-love is about accepting ourselves. I gotta be my number one fan. I gotta be on Team Alice. I gotta root for myself. We've got to love ourselves enough to take risks, to step out of our comfort zones, to take leaps of faith, to say yes to ourselves. So today I am going to lead by example, put myself out there, and share some of my illustrations with you. Some of you might know that lately I've been drawing one unicorn every single day, and my goal was to post 30 illustrations of unicorns. And today I finished drawing unicorn number 30. So I thought I'd share all the illustrations I drew and talk about the inspirations and stories behind each unicorn. Unicorn number 1. On the first day, I watched the Skillshare tutorial on how to draw unicorns, and this is what I drew. Unicorn number 2. When I first started drawing unicorns, I wanted them to have different hairstyles. So for this one, I used a bunch of different colors and I drew different colored swirls on each piece. Unicorn number 3 is very fancy. This one is inspired by hearts and diamonds, and I wanted it to look more cartoony. Unicorn number 4. This is when I wanted to do a series inspired by the elements. And this unicorn was inspired by the element water. He's an alien unicorn, and his mane, yes, I know it's not hair, it's mane, yes. His mane it is like fish fins. And the planet he lives on is, the ground is covered with different kinds of fluids, so I drew a bunch of ripples. Our next unicorn, unicorn number 5, is inspired by the element earth. I wanted the mane to look like flower petals, but for some reason it just looked a bit heavy. It looked more like a dress or some sort of cloth. But now looking back, I noticed that the lines were a bit too thick and the colors were, it was too dark. If I were to draw this a second time, I would make it more lighter and I would make the lines much more thinner so it doesn't like drag down the whole, I don't know, it feels heavy. because of the dark colors and thick lines. But I still like what I drew. I like the colors I used. Unicorn number 6. It's very obvious what this is inspired by, right? This unicorn is inspired by the element fire. And let me tell you the story behind this unicorn. What happened was I finished drawing my unicorn and it was past midnight. I was getting really tired. I just wanted to go to bed. So I saved my file in a hurry, but the next morning I realized, oh my gosh, facepalm. I realized that I overwrote my unicorn file with a blank file, so I lost everything. I had to start from ground zero and draw it all over again. So this is my second attempt on the same unicorn. And for this unicorn, I really did my research. I looked at a bunch of pictures of flames and fires to really capture like that burning flame essence, that vibe, that glow. Unicorn number 7. This unicorn is inspired by the element air. I drew curvy lines to represent like the flow of air, and I also drew a pastel rainbow because I love pastel rainbow colors. And this unicorn has wings, so it's a Pegasus unicorn, a pegacorn, or I think it's also called an alicorn? Unicorn number 8. This unicorn is inspired by, you know, those mangas with like princes of the desert? Like, and those princes have like dark complexion, like super tan, super healthy, super hot. This is what I imagine a desert prince would look like if you were turned into a unicorn for some reason. Our next unicorn, unicorn number 9. This unicorn is inspired by someone who is truly, truly, truly amazing. Yes! It's inspired by Jem. She is my very first magical girl. That's my first magical girl cartoon. Not Sailor Moon. Jem. Next, unicorn number 10. This one is also inspired by another cartoon, Beetlejuice. Say his name 3 times if you dare. I wanted the mane to look like the sandworm or sand snake. I think it's sandworm in the cartoon. I wanted it to look a little tentacle tongue snake like. Unicorn number 11. This illustration was inspired by the moon and moonlight. I think I drew it somewhere near a full moon, but I wanted to draw a crescent moon just because I like it. And for this one, I really like the gradient color, and I tried different textures for the rocks. Unicorn number 12. This unicorn illustration was inspired by America's Next Top Model. I was curious to know whether a unicorn can smize or not. Can smize like Tyra Banks. Did I succeed? The next one, unicorn number 13. The inspiration for this unicorn came from a conversation with a friend. I was eating dinner with a group of friends when I told them, hey, I'm drawing a unicorn every single day. And then one of my friends says, hey, do you know what an African unicorn is? And I was like, are you talking about the rhino? And he was like, yeah. So this unicorn is inspired by the rhinoceros. She's a warrior, an African warrior unicorn. And she will kill you with her cuteness. Unicorn number 14. This illustration, I drew it on St. Patrick's Day. And I found out that 4-leaf clovers, they have nothing to do with St. Patrick's Day. It's shamrocks, the 3-leaf one. And I also drew a Celtic heart because I think they're beautiful. And I drew the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, of course. And the caption for this, I remember I wrote something like, when you look at things from another perspective, you'll see a whole new world, or I think I wrote something like that. And I imagine someone holding up a shamrock and staring at a rainbow, and he'll be able to see like the unicorn flying by and that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Because just because you don't see something does not mean it does not exist. When you change your mindset, when you shift your paradigm, when you change your perspective, the way you look at things, you'll start to notice all those treasures that you weren't aware of before. Unicorn number 15. For this unicorn, I wanted to try a new way of drawing the mane, the hair. So like more loose strands, more like flow. And for the horn, I wanted it to look like seashells. Our next unicorn, unicorn number 16. It's obvious, isn't it? This unicorn was inspired by My Little Pony, My Little Pony, you'll always be in my heart. Are you a My Little Pony fan? Comment down below and high five, high 10. This unicorn was inspired by Rarity, and I wanted to see what a My Unicorn Pony would look like with elongated legs. So that's what I did. Our next unicorn, unicorn number 17, was inspired by one of my favorite Disney princesses, Rapunzel. I wanted my unicorn to have like a pretty braid. And I really like what I did with the hair, and I added extra sparkles and glow on the hair and on the tip of the horn. Next unicorn. I drew the draft for this unicorn when I was drafting that illustration for St. Patrick's Day. Initially, I drew this on one of the leaves of the shamrock. But when I drew this, I decided to make this a separate illustration. So that's what I did. And I wanted the mane to be transparent, and I added some, if you look closely, there's like glitter and sparkle. And I imagine the viewer looking out from a window, seeing a unicorn and like the sun in a distance. Illustration number 19. That day I wanted to draw a unicorn with the curiosity and personality of a puppy. You know how puppies always chase after butterflies and they're super cuddly and cute? Unicorn number 20. Another unicorn with wings, Pegasus wings. I wanted a more etheric vibe, so I added a lot of clouds in the environment, and the wings on this unicorn is more detailed than the wings on the unicorn inspired by the element air. And I looked up pictures of swans as references. Unicorn number 21. This drawing is very unique, and the inspiration came from a vision. That day, I was planning on only drawing like a close-up of a Pegasus unicorn with wings. But when I was drafting it, all of a sudden, I had a vision. I saw a baby unicorn hugging a baby angel hugging a unicorn. So I decided to draw that. This is what I ended up with. Unicorn number 22. This unicorn is also a model. He's standing in the middle of a photo shoot and there's a strong light and like one of those big fans. That's why his tail is like flowing. Number 23. This unicorn is also a model. I wanted to see what it would look like to place a unicorn on the cover of a Vogue-like magazine. I put attitude because look at her expressions, like attitude, she's the queen. Our next unicorn, unicorn number 24. This is an alien unicorn floating in outer space. And the viewer is sitting in a spaceship when all of a sudden this alien unicorn just floats and appears out of nowhere, like first-hand, eye-to-eye contact with another spiritual being. Okay, next. Unicorn number 25. This is a unicorn that lives in the forest. He lives in an environment where deers roam. The colors are inspired by trees and plants and wildlife, and I looked up a bunch of pictures of lions and tigers because I wanted more of a wildlife creature vibe, so I wanted an eye with a yellowish tone. Number 26. The inspiration for this is so obvious. The Simpsons! The Simpsons! I wanted to step out of my comfort zone and try out a completely different style. So I looked up a bunch of The Simpsons pictures, and this is what I ended up drawing. Unicorn number 27. This is a very special unicorn. That morning, I got a call from my dad telling me that my grandfather died. So I drew this for my grandpa. Like a unicorn bowing down, praying, and wishing him love and peace on the next chapter of his journey. Unicorn number 28. This unicorn was inspired by Billie Eilish. I really wanted to capture that stare in her eyes. And of course, the neon green hair, like neon green and black, that transition. And then she's a girl with attitude and she's very cool. I added to that bad girl, badass vibe by using the police tape. It says caution, and her hoof is tearing at one of the police tapes. Unicorn number 29. That day I watched videos made by Stan Prokopenko on his YouTube channel, Proko. They were videos on gestures, and I wanted to incorporate what I learned about stretching and pinching, and I wanted this to have a more active emotion vibe to it. So I really liked the the posture. She's like, how do I do it? She's sort of flirting at the viewer, and I drew some eyeshadow to add to that more sassy, girly eye contact vibe. Okay, this is the unicorn I drew today. I can definitely see how I've improved along the way. I learned so much along the way. And this unicorn is just saying, hey Alice, take some time to look back. Look at how far you've traveled up until this day. You've learned so much, you've grown so much, and now's the time to give yourself a big hug, a pat on the back, and say, you did good, buddy! So, you did good, Alice! And this is like my favorite out of all the 30 illustrations. This sums up what I've learned and improved so far. So those are my 30 unicorns. Which ones are your favorite? Type in the comments. What are your top 3? Sharing what we create, sharing our passions, it's so important because when we open up to the world opens up to us. If we never show our true colors, how are we gonna be accepted? We never gave people a chance to get to know us, right? So start expressing yourself. Start being you. That's the main message I'm trying to convey through this video. Sometimes it's a little bit scary, yeah, but it's worth it. It's worth the try. Your life is worth the try. Be your number 1 fan. Say yes to yourself. Alright, that's about it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you liked it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, hit that bell button, and I'll see you tomorrow.